Brazilian food doesn't ease you in gently. It throws you straight into deep-fried snacks, slow-cooked meat, and desserts that could double as breakfast. And somehow, it all works. You're about to discover a lineup that ranges from beachside snacks to stews that could knock you into a nap you didn't plan for. So let's get into it. We have to start with feijoada, because skipping it would be like visiting Italy and ignoring pasta. It's Brazil's national dish, and honestly, it eats like one. At its core, it's a slow-cooked black bean stew packed with pork and beef, but that description barely scratches the surface. This thing simmers for hours, sometimes longer, until everything melts together into something rich, smoky, and deeply comforting. It's usually served with rice, farofa, collard greens, and orange slices. That last one might seem random, but it cuts through the heaviness like a well-timed plot twist. Traditionally eaten on Wednesdays or Saturdays, and always followed by a nap you didn't schedule, but absolutely needed. From something that heavy to something dangerously snackable, say hello to pão de queijo. These are small cheese breads made with cassava flour, which gives them this chewy, almost stretchy texture that's weirdly addictive. They're crispy on the outside, soft and airy on the inside, and you'll usually get them fresh and warm. They show up everywhere. Breakfast tables, cafes, bakeries, and street stalls. One minute you're having one with coffee, the next minute you're 6 in and wondering how that happened. There's no clean exit strategy with these things. Now let's shift gears to something that feels like dessert, but often gets eaten like breakfast. The Açaí bowl. In Brazil, especially near the coast, this is basically fuel. Frozen Açaí pulp blended into a thick, almost ice cream-like base, then topped with granola, fruits, sometimes honey, sometimes condensed milk if you're feeling bold. It's refreshing, slightly earthy, and somehow manages to feel both indulgent and healthy at the same time. In the north of Brazil, they actually eat it plain, sometimes even with rice and fish, which sounds strange until you realize Brazil doesn't really follow rules when it comes to food. Next up is a snack that has a fan base bordering on obsession, Coxinha. Picture a teardrop-shaped croquette, deep-fried until golden, filled with shredded chicken mixed with cream cheese. The dough itself is made using chicken broth, so even the outer layer is packed with flavor. It's crispy outside, soft inside, and ridiculously satisfying. Coxinha isn't just food, it's a social activity. People meet over it, snack on it during breaks, grab it with drinks. It's basically the unofficial ambassador of Brazilian comfort food. And if Coxinha is the ambassador, then Pastel is the street king. Pastel is a thin, crispy, deep-fried pastry filled with anything from cheese and meat to shrimp, or even sweet fillings like banana and chocolate. You'll find them at markets, fairs, and beach stalls, and they're almost always served piping hot. The best way to eat one? Carefully. Because the filling inside is usually scorching hot, and they're often served with a spicy hot sauce on the side, just in case the first bite wasn't exciting enough. Now we move into serious territory. Churrasco. This is Brazilian barbecue, and it's not just food, it's an experience. Meat is skewered, grilled over open flames, and then carved directly onto your plate. If you go to a traditional churrascaria, waiters will keep bringing different cuts until you physically surrender. One of the stars here is picanha, a cut of beef that's juicy, flavorful, and often considered the crown jewel of Brazilian grilling. It's simple, usually just seasoned with salt, but when done right, it doesn't need anything else. If churrasco is fire and smoke, then moqueca is warmth and depth. This is a seafood stew cooked with coconut milk, tomatoes, peppers, and palm oil. It has African influences, especially in the use of dende oil, which gives it that distinctive color and flavor. Traditionally, it's cooked in a clay pot, which helps retain heat and deepen the taste. It's rich without being heavy, aromatic without being overwhelming. The kind of dish that feels like it took time, care, and probably a few generations to perfect. We're near the halfway mark, so before we go further, let me know your top 3 in the comments, and subscribe for more food deep dives like this. All right, back to the food. Let's talk dessert, because Brazil doesn't play around there either. Brigadeiro is the star of every celebration. These are small chocolate balls made with condensed milk, cocoa powder, and butter, rolled in sprinkles. They're soft, fudgy, and impossible to stop at just one. You'll find them at birthday parties, bakeries, and basically anywhere people are in a good mood. And yes, you will eat more than you planned. Now, something simple but everywhere, tapioca. This is a crepe made from cassava flour, and it's incredibly versatile. You can fill it with cheese, meat, or vegetables, or go sweet with chocolate, fruits, or jam. It's naturally gluten-free, light, and surprisingly satisfying. In some parts of Brazil, especially in the Northeast, it's a daily staple. Morning or evening, it doesn't matter. Tapioca fits in wherever you need it to. Next up is Acarajé, and this one comes with history. It's a deep-fried fritter made from black-eyed peas, typically split open and filled with shrimp, sauces, and sometimes a spicy paste. It originated from West African cuisine and was brought to Brazil during the colonial period. You'll mostly find it in Bahia, often sold by street vendors wearing traditional clothing. It's bold, flavorful, and not shy about spice. Now let's zoom out for a second, because occasionally the most important dishes aren't flashy. Rice and beans, or arroz e feijão, is the backbone of Brazilian food. Almost every meal includes it. The beans are usually cooked with garlic, onions, and sometimes bacon, while the rice is simple and fluffy. Add some farofa on top, and you've got a meal that's comforting, filling, and deeply rooted in everyday life. It's not trying to impress you. It just quietly becomes your favorite. Back to snacks, because Brazil has plenty. Bolinho de bacalhau is a codfish croquette with Portuguese roots. It's crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, and packed with flavor from salted cod, potatoes, and herbs. You'll find these in bars and restaurants and as appetizers. They pair especially well with a cold drink, which brings us to Brazil's signature cocktail, made with cachaça, lime, sugar, and ice. It's simple, refreshing, and stronger than it looks. Cachaça is made from sugarcane, giving it a slightly different flavor than rum. You'll find variations with different fruits, but the classic lime version is where it all begins. 1 glass feels refreshing. 2 feels like a decision. Now, back to comfort food with a twist, Baião de dois. This dish combines rice and beans, but levels it up with cheese, meat, and spices. It's creamy, hearty, and deeply satisfying. Originating from the Northeast, it's the kind of dish that feels like it was built to feed people after a long day. It's simple ingredients, but the result is anything but simple. And finally, we end on a sweet note with Quindim. This is a bright yellow coconut dessert made with eggs, sugar, and shredded coconut. It has a glossy custard top and a slightly chewy base. The texture is unique, somewhere between a custard and a baked sweet. It's rich, sweet, and visually striking. The kind of dessert that looks fancy but has roots in simple ingredients. And that's the lineup. 15 dishes that together tell the story of Brazilian food. A mix of indigenous ingredients, African influence, Portuguese techniques, and a whole lot of creativity. But honestly, we've only scratched the surface here. There are regional dishes, street snacks, and hidden gems that deserve their own spotlight. If you want a part 2 diving into lesser-known Brazilian foods, let me know. Before you go, hit like, subscribe, and tell me, which one are you trying first? And which one are you absolutely avoiding? See you in the next one.